Well, we're live, Matt, live and in living color. Matt's
Woo! You
Matt
got your
has
mic ready?
we got a big one. We've been talking about this one forever. We're gonna
That's true,
do
yeah.
I don't know about you, Matt, but for me personally, building these brackets probably my favorite part of everything we do. We do the top six videos, we do the stuff out in public. That's a lot of fun. But
It's
I love
not
the
the
bracket.
editing.
Oh, the editing is the worst part. I hate editing.
Dude, yeah, setting the brackets is really fun because as you see it take shape, just the crazy matchups that you're like, oh, like who would I pick for this one? It's great. Just fantasy matchups of comparing skills and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And you get to see the best of the best. We've done best wrestler. We're finishing up best finishing move right now. Literally, the finals is the stunner, which I had, the
Yes.
RKO, which you had.
We got the finals we wanted and expected, I think.
I think so. I'm pretty sure you called that before we built any brackets. You're like, it's probably going to come down to stunner versus RKO. And here we are.
Gotta be.
Yep. So let me make sure I got the chat pulled up in case we get any people popping in live. This video, we are live right now. And quick thing before we get into it, I'll share the bracket, but we were just talking about one fella who is very, very likely going to be a high seed here on this best WWE talkers. And that's Paul Heyman coming out of SmackDown. He always manages to top himself somehow. And that segment last night leading perfectly into hopefully a Roman Reigns return here within the next month or two. But it was really good. I saw you read the recaps, right?
I read some recaps. Yeah, I really appreciate as much as like it's fun to see the annoying Weasley manager, not just Heyman, but any of the managers and stuff that have interfered and stuff like take a bump. Like I've always want to see like more Heyman physical altercations because the crowd gets so into it. But man, they really make those moments count. Like I can't even think of like that many. Like Samoa Joe choked him out once, and that was huge. Like that sold me on like a Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar. I mean, it was already gonna be great, and Joe's awesome. But like that was so crazy, and I think Punk like wailed on him once way back in the day, and I don't think since then maybe one other altercation up until this point with the Bloodline. But like, man, it's so good how they really limit that like physical altercations with him because it makes it all the more like meaningful and impactful.
Yeah, totally. I think the one time he has gotten physical over the past maybe 5 years, they did a weird tease where they kept doing Reigns versus Lesnar, and they had one point where he teased that he was going to go back with Lesnar, but it was just they were duping him. He was really with Roman Reigns the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think there was a time where he got a little physical, but last night was the best he's gotten physical in a long time. Really
good. For sure.
Okay, so I brought with me a trusty coin, and what's going to happen is Matt and I both have lists on our ends, and the lists are of the best talkers of all time. We've opened it up to all of wrestling, so if somebody who's never been in WWE happens to pop up, so be it. I think it's our first time doing that, but we also open it up to non-wrestlers, so commentators, managers, wrestling personalities, all this stuff. So it's going to be good. And the coin is who gets to get the first draft pick. So Matt, why don't you call it in the air? Ready?
I will. I'm going to call tails.
Okay. It is tails. Would you like, I'm assuming you want the first pick, right?
I'll take the first pick because I think it's the easiest one and I can't botch probably the first one, as we talked about a little bit before going on.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share.
All right. Well, as Chris is getting everything set up, like he said, our bracket is the best talkers in the wrestling business. This doesn't have to be professional wrestlers. It can be the managers or commentators and things like that. And I think for me, this one might get seeded. My seeds might come in a bit weird. I think there will be more upsets here than maybe we saw in the best finisher bracket, where we were pretty chalky. I think the only surprise to me was still the coup de grace making the Elite Eight. That was very surprising to me. But I think we'll see more upsets, because I think when it comes to voting, people will see maybe one guy versus another, and whoever has like that big promo they thought of first, they might vote for, even if that's really all they've got. So I think there'll be some more upsets, especially if I pick the way I'm planning to. But the overall number one that I'm going to take here, you know, there are guys that do really like motivating promos. There are guys that are really funny, great comedic promos. And then there are a few guys that can do it all. Face, heel, comedy, serious. And he may not win it all, because there could be some disagreements here, but it's hard to deny that this guy would be one of your one seeds for almost anybody. So I will pick Mr. Dwayne Johnson himself. Hashtag my president, The Rock. Please run. I mean, I would vote for literally like any professional wrestler to run for president at this point.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the debate. I just heard about it, and I was actually embarrassed just listening to people describe how the debate went. So I'm very proud of the old men leaders we think should run this country.
Right. And I do have a comment, but I don't want to get too off in the weeds here. But
yeah.
I listen to a lot of like podcasts, and they'll all get super down on Biden. And for the longest time, they've been like, he's not mentally equipped. He can't do it. And then I always feel like whenever the news pops up and shows one of his like gaffes, I've always looked at him and been like, that's mild. You know, if he's up there giving like an hour-long speech and he flubs something, like whatever. But then I watched that debate. I'm like, oh no, dude, that's all this guy does. They're in trouble.
They're in trouble. I'd hate to be the person living in that country.
Oh God, yes. Oh man. Well, good pick with The Rock.
Also, what's up to Wrestle Truth and Norm? Thanks for stopping by, chatting.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Let's move. Let's see. Okay, so I gotta make sure my list is up to date here with the picks.
Of course.
They don't overlap. But I got one in mind here that I think deserves the number one seed. People might roll their eyes, but these two have faced in the past.
I already love it. I know who it is.
A couple times,
who it is, actually.
And if there's one fella that's gotten the best of old Dwayne on the mic, it's this cat. And I'm gonna go with Mr. Cena.
Okay.
John Cena. I recently came across the video. Actually, it was this morning of all the times Santino Marella mispronounced people's names, and I was howling. That guy is so funny.
Yeah. Well,
John
perfect
Cena.
segue, because I'm picking him for my. No, I'm just. No.
Dang.
This guy, I think he could get upset. Not in the first round. I think he's deserving of a one seed, but I think because he's never had the promo, debatably, he might not get to the final four as expected if you're a one seed. But going in line with The Rock and John Cena, there's another fella that's sort of intertwined with these two. It might not be the first person that comes to mind. I think it's the more consistent performer on the mic. Quite honestly, I think the most consistent mic performer in the last decade for WWE, and that is Mike the Miz.
Okay.
I think Miz he never has a bad segment. If the crowd needs fired up, he does it. If he needs to turn them because he's a heel and they're getting too, smarky and kind of cheering for him, no, he's insulting their city just like The Rock can do. The Miz is fantastic, and I think he's deserving of a one.
Yeah, Miz is awesome. Let's go down to the last region here. It's our last one seed. Maybe I'm riding a wave from last night, but I gotta go a manager. I gotta go Paul Heyman.
Paulie H.
Paulie Dangerous.
Paulie Hardcore.
Paulie H.
Already some controversy. These are some interesting number ones because we're
Yep.
missing some big names and especially guys who have the most memorable promos.
Right.
But I think there's something to be said that all four of these guys, when they get on the mic, you know it's going to be high quality. It might not be your top promo of all time, but it's going to get the job done at a high level.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where it gets
Can't wait for the
interesting.
comments. Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting for me because for me, Rock is the guy to beat. I think. So I gotta. I don't want to like plot and ploy here, but I gotta throw some people at Rock who I think actually have a chance to take him down.
Of course, absolutely.
Whether or not I totally agree with the selections is another thing, but
You can finagle if you want to set up a final. If you think Rock will go in the finals and it's against maybe another guy I think you would personally pick as your number one, I
yeah.
will take him next because I think I know who it would be.
Okay. Well, for here, I'm going to go with a fella that I think might have a shot. He's known for his mic skills, and he did it for a long, long time. And actually go with Ric Flair.
Oh,
right here.
okay.
Another guy who I don't know as with The Miz, I don't know if I've ever seen Flair botch a line or cut a bad promo. He's always pretty compelling.
Mhm.
So I think he's a good number 2 seed here with The Rock.
Yeah. Ooh, I told myself I wasn't gonna pick just on like high moments, but I think this would be a great Elite 8 matchup. It led to
Ooh.
some legitimately good promos regardless. As much as I would personally take more consistent guys as I look in my top section, which maybe just has about 13 to 15 wrestlers. Oh God, actually, is this too high or really, really ignoring some of the legends? Although you got Flair there, I'm gonna have a Cena, Punk, possible Elite 8. I'm gonna put Punk here.
All right.
Let's get this little Punk, Rock, Cena, Miz quad complete.
Yeah. Punk Rock.
Punk Rock. Maybe
Punk
we
Rock.
get Punk Rock, but we will probably get Punk Cena.
Oh man, I'm tempted to throw a fella down here in the 2 seed, but it's too early for him. But it would be interesting to see him go up against Miz. Let's see. There are so many. Okay, I think I went pretty old school with Ric Flair in this last one. I'm gonna stick to that theme. This fella's known to be one of the best talkers ever. I think I'm gonna go Dusty Rhodes here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, a good guy. Miz in our 2 first rounds went up against Bruno Sammartino both times. I don't know how that happened, but like Miz and Dusty seems like a Miz Bruno kind of matchup. Just like this new guy with like no wrestling history and kind of like wrestlers wouldn't have respect for him and is sleazy in the heel, and like this guy that just epitomizes like classic wrestling. The promo, the in-ring. So it'll be interesting if they get paired up and then both make it that far.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm gonna finagle here. Although I had this guy very high. But I think because we've got Heyman as number 1, we'll see. Like I want to see if people respect like the non-in-ring performer talkers. If they do, we might get this cool Elite 8. If not, then they both are probably getting knocked out and are, 3 and 4 will probably advance, and those will be really strong candidates. So I'm going to go with good old JR, Jim Ross, the voice of the Attitude Era, probably the voice for anybody within 5 years, maybe even 10 years of our age, of like when you imagine like a wrestling match and hearing a call, you hear like Jim Ross, and then you hear like King screaming, "Ah, puppies!"
Absolutely. Great pick. You just, him and Heyman, that's such a good region for them to both be in.
Yeah.
They're both they bleed pro wrestling.
Yeah. All right. Oh, a lot of the choices I have right here are scary because this is Rock and Flair. I think I'm gonna slide in a guy that this is gonna be when they do like the drawings like World Cup and stuff like that with like groupings. This is called like there's always like the region of death or like the group of death because like 3 of like the top teams somehow got drawn in the same and one of them is gonna get eliminated here. I'm gonna go with a guy who was kind of in a generation between Rock and Flair, one of the best and most iconic. I'm going with the Macho Man, Randy Savage here.
All right.
And I feel bad for all 3 of these guys because these are 3 of the all-time greats.
Yeah. Macho Man is he's iconic. He just
we must get the iconic catchphrases, Macho and Ric Flair, but yeah.
I know. He probably, we were talking about guys who never messed up a promo. He probably did, but you just never noticed because he just was so confident in everything he said. Like, you can't tell me the curiosity and the cream, the rises was scripted. Like, he probably just off on a rant, perhaps. Yeah. Amphetamine-fueled rant. But, cool. Well, good pick there. All right, I'm going to go down to the Cena Punk region. Man, oh, man.
I almost wish Miz was here now.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good spot.
Took Miz too early. I did the stupid thing.
Well, sometimes these early picks, they go far. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Huh. All right, a lot of good talkers that I have here, but I think if I held off any longer on this fellow, it would just be me trying to finagle. So I think this would be a good spot. Plus, I always wanted to see like a promo battle between him and some of these guys. I think him and Punk would have done really well. I'm gonna go with Roddy Piper.
Ooh.
He was just a master on the stick.
Master on the stick. Stick master.
Stick shift. All right, back up into the Miz region. Miz, Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, this is where it's like, this is that early on where you've had guys in like your top 5, but you've sort of finagled or kind of shifted things. And you're like, if I don't take this guy, like this seating is so ridiculous. But I also, I don't know if I like this region for him and things like that. But there are probably 3 guys on my list that like that I like. One of them is obviously going to miss out if you take the other one. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go, I don't know who's, I kind of think this will be your next pick anyway. Oh, who is your next pick? Do you know for sure if I don't take somebody who you're going next? I know it'll be JR and Heyman.
I don't know for sure, but I would probably go with Bobby the Brain Heenan in that region.
Ooh, that's a good pick. Then I will get this guy on here now. Cool. I'm gonna go Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right. Yeah. Surprisingly, I had him not towards the bottom, but not towards the top, kind of like mid card.
Okay.
On the mic. I don't know why. He's my favorite. But I just always thought they were better talkers. He kind of had like one gear.
I agree. I think just his overall recognizability and how much he got to do on the mic, how many shows he was leading, opening segment and closing segment, one of the others, calling out somebody, talking to somebody. Like, I think just so much sticks in my mind for him that you go, okay, well, I mean, I never remember anything being like really, really terrible from him. So I think he was pretty solid.
Right. So, well, I give mine away. Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Perfect. That's a good spot. That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah. Not even really trying to finagle, but we got 3 just non-wrestlers here in this region. We'll see if that'll become something.
Yeah.
And then up here,
one more there.
Yeah. Yeah. Back here in the Rock, Macho Man, Ric Flair region, good Lord, who is worthy of being in a region with these folks? I think it's time. I'm gonna go ahead and put. Yeah, I think he fits in here like a glove. I'm gonna go Jericho.
Oh, nice. I was taking
Yeah,
him next if you didn't, I think.
yeah, he's right
I
there,
like
right there towards the top. Great talker. Say what you
what a
will about
great
him, these days, but he's one of the all-time best. So
what a great section. Legitimately, that's honestly close enough to a Final Four, and 3 of those guys have to get knocked out.
right, it's crazy.
But this grouping is no slouch either. I'm going to go with, in our John Cena, CM Punk, and Roddy Rowdy Piper region, I'm going to go with a guy that, again, consistency, variety, talking in a in-ring performer, and different roles. I'm going to get Triple H on here because I think the intensity that he spoke with as a wrestler, the authority that he presents when he's a heel authority or when he's a sort of good authority, the actual creative guy that we all know behind it. I think he does a great job in all of those and is so comfortable on the mic.
Yeah, he was definitely coming up soon for me, but that's a great pick. The game. Okay, we got an interesting region. So I think I'm going to throw maybe a wild card up here, but
All right.
this fella, I feel like could go anywhere. Like if you were to pick him as a number 1 seed, I'd be like, yes, of course. If he fell late, I'd be like, sure, maybe you weren't thinking about him. But I'm going to go with Bray Wyatt.
Oh, right on. Where did I have him? There we go. I like that. Yeah.
Never flubbed, never botched, always convincing. Could do, all these different characters. Just crazy mind on that guy.
Yeah. I like that. I only thought of him in like his dark role when I was like just putting him kind of in my list. Like, where should I put him in the top, or should I kind of put him in my larger middle section? And I put him in the larger middle section, but I completely forgot about just him playing like this. What's the guy's name? Welcome to my neighborhood.
Oh, the Firefly Funhouse.
The Firefly Funhouse, but he was a parody of the guy that Tom Hanks played in that movie. Oh my God, I don't know. Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
He's like a parody of like Mr. Rogers and this like good 1950s, just happy-go-lucky guy. Yeah, and he pulled that off great. So yeah.
Right.
All right, I should have done more research. I never saw this. I did a little, and I never saw this guy come up. But I know he's widely considered a great heel, a great weasel. Pretty sure a good talker, but I don't know if he probably never cut a lot of promos, but he did a lot of great like hype stuff as like a manager. And we might as well get one of the other big non-performers here. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Hart.
Okay.
Just because I think he would have maybe made it no matter what, and I might as well put him here. And like I said, if all these guys get taken out in the first or second round, then we know people want the in-ring performers. And yeah.
Yep. Got him on mine. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so you got a friend in me.
The number 5. Yeah, a friend indeed.
Okay, 5th seed in the Rock region.
Oh man, I've got 2 great choices to potentially go up against Jericho. 3 maybe.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with another guy. I mean, these guys cross paths. They had promos against each other. Okay. I'm gonna go with another guy that I think similar to Triple H, if this gives you any hint. Did so much mic work, character stuff, promotional stuff, and just was kind of like the face of an era in a lot of since I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels, HBK.
All right, HB Shiz. Cool. All right, let me take him off mine. Okay, we are in the Cena region, 5th seed. Man, you don't think of this guy as a talker typically, but I think it was just because he was so good at other areas of wrestling. Hint, hint. I'm going to go with the Olympic hero, Kurt Angle.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, he was, I think you mentioned it with, well, maybe when you're talking about The Rock, but just doesn't matter what you give him, face, heel, inspirational, cheesy comedy, like he could do freaking everything, man. And I don't know if he gets the credit. I don't know how far he'll go. Like I said, I don't think people think of Mike Skills and they think Kurt Angle, but let's see how far we can get that Mr. Kurt Angle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had him in my section of top superstars. So, I think he's deserving there as well, and fantastic.
Nice.
All right, the number 5 here. I might be viewing this guy too high, so I might pass on him. And I don't know if I want this matchup to be a second round matchup, because I think I would be a little bit unfair to both of these gentlemen who are pretty good. So, oh man. Ooh, Matt, don't start. You gotta pick them, because. All right, I'm gonna do it. No. I've got 3 left actually. Oh, this is so hard. I'm not sure who to put here. All right.
Remember, I do have the coin in case you needed to revert to the coin.
Just about. I think I have this guy overseated, so I'm not going to put him here. I think this guy, I would like to finagle into a better second round matchup. This, I hate it, but this is the dark horse a lot of times, and he'll probably upset somebody we like anyway because he's got some diehards. I'm going to go with the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Okay. All right. Fun fact: I should have put him on my list, but I as I was making my list, I came across him, and for whatever reason, I'm like, if I need someone, but then I came across Kevin Nash, and I was like, I don't think I need to put him on my list.
I don't have Nash on my list.
I like him. He's awesome. I know NWO is legendary, but I was just whatever on Nash, but
Yeah. I agree. I was like, Nash, no.
Yeah, but the bad guy. Okay, 5th seed in the Paul Heyman region. Well, we're just going to go ahead and finagle the hell out of this one.
Let's go.
Okay, and I do have a guy who I think deserves to be here, but he's not quite as well known. So I'm not going to, this isn't going to be the Chris pick. This is just like who I think
the region
here.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna go Michael Cole.
Nice,
because people went from hating his guts to him being pretty beloved.
Yeah, I almost went Cole last pick. I almost was like, I can't take any of my top guys. I'm gonna go to my like mid, and I was like, but that people are gonna think that's ridiculous. Cole versus Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How do you compare that?
Right. We get those apples to oranges comments.
Heck yeah. Okay, Let's see here. Back up to.
I believe it is you again.
Yeah. Let's go. All right, I think this fella deserves to be here when you talk about just Mike Skills. Jake the Snake.
Nice.
I think he did it differently. He did. He's just a different cat. Okay, down to you, 6th seed in the Cena region.
I've got it between 2. I'm gonna go. I'm on the record of like not loving this wrestler. I don't dislike him by any means, but I like.
Okay.
he doesn't. His look and his in-ring doesn't excite me. But what I cannot deny is how real and like personal his promos are, how invested it gets you, and how much it makes you buy into the reality, the kayfabe of wrestling. I'm going to have Cody Rhodes here.
All right.
I think his best skill is his mic work.
Yeah, he's great on the mic. I was watching an interview with Taker recently, and Undertaker, and Taker said that he loves Cody Rhodes, is a huge fan, but he thinks there's more there with Cody as a heel. So I don't know if he knows some inside stuff that's going to be happening, but I don't know. I think just shiny white babyface is his wheelhouse. I don't really picture him as a heel. Do you?
I could see it. I could see them leaning into, anytime that you have like family lineage, you can always lean into that as like, I'm more deserving because my family's been in this for like any, up and young comers that have gotten over organically. And that always plays well as the heel, because people like hate nepotism and like thinking that just because your family's been doing it, that means like their kid is better than somebody else and things like that. So yeah. I could see that being like the easiest way, at least at first.
For sure. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Okay. Okay, I got it. I think this fellow would have worked really well in the Rock region, but I got to put him here now because he's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. I'm going to go with Mick Foley.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he could have a little showdown with Stone Cold in the second round.
Oh, my gosh.
It's funny. I have always thought about Foley as your guy. Austin is my guy. We kind of flip-flopped there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Well, I could keep finagling and go with like the one more no, actually, you know what? No, this guy, I put him low because I was like, I don't know, when I was worried, one, he wasn't a performer, two, he doesn't have any like memorable promos, but this is a guy a lot like Triple H that spoke on the mic all the time and led and closed a lot of shows, played the perfect foil to a lot of all-time greats. And it takes the right kind of talking and mic work to be the antagonist or the foil to the hero. I'm going to put Vincent Kennedy McMahon on here.
All right. Yeah, I was going to pull the trigger on Vince here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But good spot for Vince. And you can't forget about his work as a commentator back before they like revealed that he was the boss. He was great at commentary. He was. Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, this worked out. I have the perfect 7 here.
All right.
I was worried about taking this guy too early. I think 7 to 10 is a good range for him. Maybe it's still slightly overrated. Maybe it's a little bit underrated because of just his ubiquity in our minds as a guy that we can hear his voice. He's certainly flubbed and botched a lot of things as he's spoken, especially as time has gone on. But in his prime, he was as captivating as anyone because he was the main guy, and it's going to be the real American Hulk Hogan.
All right. Good pick. Cannot believe Hogan slipped to 7, but
yeah.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
I think he'll be very polarizing because I think he did stick around for so much longer, and you almost think more of his like ridiculous botches on the mic and just like always saying the same thing and being like a bit of a gimmick catchphrase machine rather than like any good promos. But he certainly had like very important and major promos in his prime days.
Right. He did. Very true. Yeah, I always think of the Superdome from WrestleMania. Yeah, but it's not like it was a bad promo. He did what he needed to do. He just bought his location. He didn't know where he was.
He didn't know where he was.
Oh, man. Okay. All right, 7 with these cats. This is kind of a mixed bag. a lot more modern guys other than Piper. Let's see who we got. I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger on this fella.
Was it Sheamus?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Not.
He didn't even make my list.
He did not make my list either.
Okay, but I think this would be a good spot for one Adam Copeland Edge.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I think Edge, it's easy to forget about him since he had been retired for a long time and now he's with AEW. But yeah, he was a long staple who, again, had long-running feuds where he was opening or closing the show either as the title holder or the title challenger and chaser.
Right. And his presence, like, I didn't really miss him that much. I was never a huge Edge fan, but when he made his return in 2020, some of those promos he cut shortly after, I was like, oh, okay. There's nobody on the roster quite doing it like he does. He just has this like intensity and passion in his face and his eyes. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
you're earned my respect for sure.
Yeah. All right. Here we are. You know, I think this could be a little subjective, but I think because their body shape is somewhat similar, they could meet up in the next round. I'm going to pick this fella here. I'm going to go with the great Canadian export, Kevin Owens.
All right. Kevin Owens. Yeah, he's awesome. Makes me want to pick his, twin for the next round, but I will hold off because this is we got something special cooking up here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are in the middle of our best wrestling talkers bracket. We got some live here. If you're watching after the fact, hello, welcome. And there's been a lot of good people on the mic over the years, and we're putting them in a bracket, and we're going to go head to head. We're going to start the voting on Monday. And yeah. Cool. So this has become the manager commentator region. And I might regret this, but I love this guy. He's new. I'm going with Pat McAfee.
Oh, nice. I mean, yeah, by all metrics, he is objectively a great talker. He has a successful podcast. Everybody likes him on the show. He's on College Game Day for college football. The world agrees. Put this guy behind a microphone. It's good for us. So objectively, he is considered a great talker.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how he just came in and he breathed a breath of fresh air right into Cole. Like when they started working together, we saw a side of Cole that we never saw. And
yeah. The one-sided bromance for Cole to McAfee is maybe one of my favorite storylines. And Corey Graves getting pissed. Did you know about this, Michael? No, I had no idea. Pat's back! Yay!
Oh boy. Okay. So this is where I feed this guy to the wolves.
Feed me more.
He will maybe get past the first round, but anyone in this general area, with the exception of maybe Jericho, I don't know. They're just going to get fed to The Rock. We all know Rock is the man, but let's see how his cousin does. Yeah, let's put Roman Reigns right here.
Ooh,
Sorry to do it to you, Roman.
Sorry, Romy.
Can't deny that, past few years have been outstanding, but it's also hard to shake off the suffer and succotash promo that we all...
I can't wait to see the comments about that for the people that don't read that it's like the second round and think we've picked these two and we don't know who's the better one in our minds. Like, is this a serious question? Like this, hey man, do you know how a bracket works?
I know. All right.
But I think there could be a couple sincere votes for Roman, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a 100-0 sweep. 100%
right.
to 0.
He's got the crowd on his side right now.
That's true.
We want Roman every week. Yeah. It's all they're chanting. So it's going to be quite the moment when he returns.
All right. This could be so weird, but I think I'm going to. There are some people that should be on this list, quite honestly, but I don't know where they would seed because I think they will be looked at differently because they are biologically different. But I'm gonna put the one that's not. She goes by the man, Becky Lynch.
All right. All right. Becky Lynch. Good stuff.
All rise, Becky Lynch. This is the Judgment Day of Damian Priest.
Becky Lynch. Good stuff. Our first female representative. Awesome stuff. Okay. Well, I guess there's a lot of fellows and women that may be more known for their in-ring skills, but you can't get as far as this guy without having some skills on the mic. He's probably known better for his heel work, but works damn well as a babyface too.
Gotta be Hornswoggle.
I'm going to go with the potential winner of the best finisher bracket. I'm going to go with Randall Keith Orton here.
Oh.
Might be a little controversial. We'll see who is seated below him, but
yeah,
I think he's not bad.
Yeah. I'll try to finagle an interesting one where it won't be like an obvious, like somebody had a really good promo and they probably will. I don't know how people will vote. Again, I think people will go for like the first promo that comes to mind rather than like full body of work. Right. Because you see these questions and these polls and you're not going to sit there and go, this is really important. I really need to make sure my vote counts because Matt and Chris are depending on me to really like process who the best talker is. It's like, oh yeah, I got this guy.
Right. Right. Okay. Let's go on down. Ooh, this is the last... Before it starts to get really interesting.
Yeah, and I think we will probably... I don't know if you have more... there's like probably 1 to 2 more after the one I have that are non-in-ring performers considered. But I was almost like, do I flip it here at 8? But I think like the top 8 can be like non-performers. And then I probably start going wrestlers, but I know I won't have 9 here. So I don't know what you'll do. You might keep it. But I think my next one in this region after this one will go back to wrestlers. I'll go Jerry the King Lawler here and just get us that 8 sweep, that top half of the bracket.
Jerry Lawler.
But he was a wrestler as well before, and I think he was pretty well known and did well in his promo work as a in-ring performer as well. Great heel.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
He was great. I mean, there's still an Attitude Era without Jerry Lawler. What am I talking about? But he added him and JR played so well off each other.
Yes,
big part in it.
My attention would not have been drawn as much to the women without Jerry the King Lawler reminding me of their physical attributes every moment they were on screen.
Every moment. Bobby.
He would probably talk about them. You know how during the women's matches now sometimes the people will like complain about like the commentators like not calling the match and talking about like the men's segment that just happened or something else. It was like the reverse in Attitude Era. Like Jerry the King Lawler would just be like, "Oh my God, I hope Sable comes out here." It's like a European title matchup between like X-Pac and D-Lo and Jerry the King Lawler. It's just like, I want to see Sable's puppies.
Like, we can all relate. We were like, we were like 13 going through puberty ourselves. Like, this guy likes boobs too.
Yeah, this grown man is just like me. All right, who's going up against Roman Reigns? You know what? I wasn't trying to finagle, and I did have this guy. Like, he's in my next kind of 5 to 10 on my list. Let me make sure this is the right call. I think this is a little high of a seed for him, but I think he was consistent. I think he's done good heel and good face work. He's never had like that breakout promo necessarily, but for the matchup, give me Seth Rollins here.
Ooh, okay, yep.
I mean, he doesn't do anything. It's average to above average all the time. It's like nothing's bad. Gets the job done. It's just not at the level of guys like Angle, The Rock, Miz, Cena. So I think an 8-9 between Roman and Rollins is a fascinating matchup.
Yeah, definitely. And man, sign me up for that feud. If they feud again down the line, which I hope they do.
Retirement match, yeah. Give it to me in like hold them off for like 20 more years, set them on a presidential debate stage, and let them just flop at each other.
Absolutely love it.
No, let's look at
this would be a good spot for Rollins too.
Oh man, it would have been. You're right.
Okay, Becky Lynch, better on the mic.
Dang, I just want to mulligan that.
All right, there's one fella I'm going to hold off on. I think he'll still be there in a couple picks. I'm not going to say who, but I feel like I have to pick a woman here. I'm gonna go Charlotte. I think Charlotte's always been very consistent on the mic.
She was one of my other 3 that I was like, I think if I'm getting a couple women on here, she was in my 4.
Yeah, very good.
Randy, oh man. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna do anything unfair because I want this to be an interesting match. Because there's one guy that's very popular right now that we haven't picked yet, that I think would win because their personalities, like we think of like a kind of like quiet, but like all boiling under the surface Randy Orton more often. And this guy just exudes star power when he comes out, and you just hear him as a talker and extrovert basically. So I'm going to put one of the other ladies that I have here. I've got it between 2. I think the one I'm not going to pick is actually the better talker, but because these 2 intertwined for a bit of a storyline more, I'm going to pick Alexa Bliss.
Okay. Yeah. She rules.
Yeah. I think she's going to have a hard time winning because of how infrequent she's been around in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. She had a kid with Brian Cabrera. I don't know when she's coming back, though.
I don't know when Ryan Cabrera's coming back either. Give me another Ryan Cabrera song.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people from... I'm wearing this Cleveland shirt. My brother's in Cleveland. I went there last weekend. I think Alexa Bliss is from maybe Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
But Miz is from like Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Or am I making that up? Okay.
No, he is.
A couple... And we might get one more Cleveland-ish person. I don't know the thoughts on some young YouTuber if he'll make it here if we run out. I did not put him on my list, but I could audible because he's not hard to forget.
Same. Okay, I'm going to go...
You could go one more. I think there's at least 1 or 2 more non-typical wrestlers here. But I'm ready. It's, like I said, I think I'm done with my non-wrestlers.
Oh, yeah! Going to
awesome.
Pro Man himself.
Shit.
It's funny, Paul Bearer is on here, but the guy he managed, nowhere in sight.
Right. I was thinking that's very interesting. I was like, wow, the guy that won our best wrestler twice is not even in my mid-tier of talkers. No offense.
I know.
But he didn't have to be.
Right.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
It was such an integral part of being a professional wrestler. And even without being considered like top 10, probably top 25 in that, people still think he's like the best wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. I think I got a decent match for Hulk Hogan in the first round.
Nice.
We'll see how much people can focus on mic skills specifically. But one superstar that was right around the same time is the $1 Million Man, who was all about being a talker. So we'll see what he can do. Okay,
that's a good choice there.
All right, you got going up against Edge.
There's a lot of finagling I could do here.
Right.
And not in negative ways. I just have like 3 guys I was probably looking at next, and I'm trying to figure out which one really works well here. I probably won't do Sami Zayn yet, even though bummer that he's dropping so low. I'm between kind of who I would consider the current Edge persona as like Edge's rated R superstar run. I think Drew McIntyre has a lot of that rated R superstar Edge in him. But I also think Daniel Bryan, who had run-ins with Edge and CM Punk, also fits in here well. But might be a sucker to the moment and to the work he's doing currently. I'm gonna put Drew here.
Yeah.
And we can wrap this into the WWE storyline. If Drew wins and then loses to CM Punk, as I would expect, we can let Drew know and we'll be on WWE because he'll like Claymore the shit out of both of us and be so mad that CM Punk's ruining his life again. So,
oh man,
if we can finagle this into getting to be involved in the Drew Punk storyline, let's do it.
Right.
Eugene. Oh, so Hornswoggle. Yeah, if we get Hornswoggle, we got to get Eugene. You're right, Norm.
Right. Okay. Well,
Eugene is a good one, actually.
He wasn't. I mean,
that guy convinced us he was mentally handicapped.
Right.
And that guy was not, as far as I know.
No, I don't think he was either. Well, I'm going to save the Eugene pick for a little bit here, but I can't think of a better spot. You just mentioned them.
Nice.
We're going to have these fellas battle it out in the first round, which I don't think this is the first time this has happened. I think maybe our first best wrestler bracket. Did they? I don't remember. We've done so many of these things, it's hard to remember. But yes, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, first round. Let's see who wins.
Pat McAfee. Oh boy, I don't know what I wrote here for this. Yeah, I don't think I'll put this guy on here, even though it'll get people be like, ugh. And what does that say? Okay. Oh man, you know what? I will put this guy on here, even though he's a little bit lower on my list, but he is a wrestler / commentator. There's a couple options still here. I am on the record of thinking this guy in real life is probably a piece of crap, so I hope Pat McAfee beats him. I'm going to go JBL. Can't deny that JBL had a lot of feuds where he was the lead heel on the mic, especially with like John Cena, Eddie Guerrero, guys like that in the weird Ruthless Aggression era that kind of seemed like just 3 guys fighting for the title for years. But yeah. He's always quality. I don't love his commentating a lot of the times, but it's good enough.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
He was also on my list, and I think he's worthy of being on this thing. There may be some more people who go by 3 letters to their name yet to come. How's that for a teaser?
Okay, I think Oh, now I know. I got 2 in mind. Okay, so up against Jake the Snake. Ooh. Oh. Is this gonna be finagling? I personally am too young for this guy. And he's too boring for me to ever want to go back and look into his stuff, but he's regarded as a great wrestler. He's regarded as a pretty good talker and one of the underrated guys. I think Taker put him on his best talkers of all time. And I don't want to pick somebody that I want Jake the Snake to get a fair shot because, like you said, his promos were different. And I don't want to pick like the obvious, of course this guy is the better talker because he talked louder and with more catchphrases and less like sinister and and stuff like that. So I'm gonna pick another guy that didn't really do that, but is considered largely a legend at talking. I'm gonna go Arn Anderson for the old heads.
Yep.
good old Arn.
Arn. Do you ever watch Tosh.0?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had like this thing against Arn Anderson. He like, beat me in the ring, Arn.
Yes. Just that running gag where he'd always
I loved it.
Arn Anderson out of nowhere. So funny.
Yes, I loved it too.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we can give Cody a run for his money here in the first round. I've been sitting on this guy for a while. I'm going to go with LA Knight.
Oh, wow. That's a juicy first rounder.
Juicy.
I like LA Knight more, but I do think I'd have to go Cody because I think the substance is there, but that's not to say that LA Knight won't be able to do that. He's just not really have been given the substance promos yet. He gets to come out, run down lesser opponents, or, you know, Weasley heels like Logan Paul, or hype the crowd up. He hasn't had that, like, this means everything to me promo yet, really, and been put in that situation. So,
right.
All right, Foley. Do we get one of his counterparts on here, even though they're not as high on my list? And Finnegs. Ooh, actually, I got to cross off LA Knight. You know what? I'm going to go. Oh, there's a couple good picks here. Oh, my God. I'm going to go Matt Hardy.
Okay. All right.
For two guys that gave some of the weirder promos at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go Matt Hardy.
Awesome.
This is getting hard to pick in this region because we really set ourselves up as like no wrestlers.
I know, but I think I got enough here to make it work. So I was gonna go with somebody different, but it wouldn't make as much sense in the first round against Vince McMahon. It would just be totally random. So I have been sitting on Bischoff for a while, so we'll see.
Oh wow, I did not have Bischoff. That's a good pick.
Yeah, he was a great talker. I mean,
oh my God, yeah, what a weasel.
I know. Maybe the biggest, maybe the ultimate.
Oh yeah, holy cow.
Okay. All right, going up against HBK. Oh man, I feel like I'm just gonna feed this guy to him, but he's one of the three-letter guys. I think HBK versus MJF.
Whoa, one of the three-letter guys. Holy moly.
And I got another three-letter guy, but not yet.
It'll depend on our audience and
right.
If they're wrestling through and through, or if they're like, oh, we're pretty much just WWE and stuff like that. Because, yeah, I think a lot of people would argue that MJF, in terms of currently active guys, is a top 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And it'll be interesting because I would definitely consider myself a WWE guy through and through. I don't really watch AEW, but for whatever reason, I still know MJF pretty well. And any promo that they put out on like YouTube or whatever, I'm watching it and I'm like, man, this guy's he's on another level.
Yeah. All right, Kurt Angle. I'm going to go with another guy that often could portray intensity. Often could be a bit of like a kind of laugh at heel, not in like but never in like a not dangerous way. Laugh at, but still that sense of like, this guy's dangerous. He's just crazy. I'm going to go Daniel Bryan here. I think Daniel Bryan, Kurt Angle is a pretty decent matchup.
Yeah. Hell of a first rounder. Both guys you think of more probably in the ring than talking, but we're so good at talking still. Like people forget about Daniel Bryan's like heel run, like before he blew up, like his, the team hell no. Then he had his big,
Planet's champion heel run.
The Planet's champion
as well, but also his B-plus player, and his impassioned promos and things like that too. You know, he was kind of doing that like Cody, this means everything to me, emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff. Okay, well, I think I got a decent first round matchup for Razor Ramon. It's not going to be Diesel for me, at least. I'm going to go with Dean Ambrose.
Ooh, Dean getting on here. All right. Ooh, man, that's good. That's good.
He was my favorite talker from the Shield, especially when they were first coming up. I feel like he broke through. He gave that, well, I don't want to spoil another potential pick here in a little bit, but he gave off that like Brian Pillman, loose cannon vibe.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has a similar, at times I think some of his mannerisms seemed to pay homage to Razor Ramon. You know, Razor kind of toothpicks and kind of cool and stuff, and Dean Ambrose kind of hand tape and just kind of, a little bit like smooth, cool as a cucumber. All right, up against Michael Cole, and you were able to get Bischoff. Jesus. Oh my God. I think she's deserving. Let's do it. Let's go, Steph. Stephanie McMahon.
Celebrate. Never gonna beat the mommy. McMahon. Okay, we're getting down to it. First,
Macho Man. Oh, who do I have going up against Macho Man? At this point, I feel like.
Oh no, I think you got Jericho. 13.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Who's getting fed to Jericho? At this point, I feel like almost all of the guys on my list, based on how strong the top 1 through 4s are, probably have no chance. So this should be fun. But if there's one guy that was almost semi Jericho-ish, and also who's also in this region, semi HBK-ish, it was Dolph Ziggler, who I think is a little bit undervalued. I'm gonna put Ziggles on here.
All right, Ziggs.
Give me Ziggs.
Dolph Ziggler.
I love that quadrant just for those 4 wrestlers, like in the full package they're bringing HBK and Jericho and Dolph Ziggler and MJF.
Yeah,
I think they all give, like, they could all have been great if they all wrestled in their prime together and feuded with each other. Quite honestly, great upper mid card or like smaller title holder guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I'm gonna actually. Well, no, I'm not. MVP.
Oh, wow, nice.
I think I was gonna change Triple H to HHH, so we got another three letter. Yeah, I gotta let it go though. All right, Bray Wyatt.
I gotta let it go.
First round against the Fiend.
Man, I mean, I don't think anybody I pick on this list is going to beat him. I think if I put this guy on the list, he would be the only one, but it would be quite an upset, even though he's been our best wrestler twice. But I don't think I'm going to put Taker here, as nice and fun as that would be. I don't even think Taker's above a few of these next guys I'm going to put. I'm going to... Oh, who's my favorite of these 3? I'm going to go with... I actually can't pick between these 3, so I'm going to go to somebody else. I'm going to go comedy here. I'm going to get comedy, and I'm going to go R-Truth.
R-Truth. Very nice. Very nice. All right.
It's hard for me to know who is my preferred talker of the New Day, because I don't think I will be able to fit 2 of the 3 that I would pick on there.
Dude, I went through the exact same thing. I saw New Day. I'm like, they're some of the best talkers, but it's a package deal.
It kind of is, yeah. Maybe one of the guys in New Day, considering he didn't wrestle for a long time and was just like part of them, it felt like to me, deserves to be in this region if you're running out of non-wrestlers.
Right. I still got a few here, or at least people that have done both. But for here, This is the guy who I wanted to put against Vince like 2 rounds ago. I think so highly of this guy's mic skills because he was there during a time the wrestling was kind of lame, to be honest, and he really, really shined through. I thought I'm gonna go with Zeb Coulter.
Oh, Zeb was pretty solid.
I
Yeah,
thought he was great. I mean, he was a little like, ugh, talking about,
the character they gave him was definitely on the line.
yes. And he's like, we're gonna defend our borders because it's like, ugh, like I get it, sure.
They actually won people over. Everybody was doing "We the people."
Right,
Just 'cause it was
right.
fun to say. You didn't, you didn't mean what it meant, but
Yeah.
you're like, "This is fun."
I know. All right, so I'm going Zeb Coulter there.
Holy moly, Zeb!
So I'm on the 14 against Macho Man. Yeah, truth be told, our truth. Truth be told, I got no one that's gonna even come close. So I might as well put this fellow down. I thought Road Dogg was always really good on the mic.
Oh, I completely forgot about. I did not get him on my list, but absolutely deserving.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
talker. Like DX wouldn't have been the same without Road Dogg. So
No, yeah.
okay, so we got 14 seed going against Hot Rod.
Maybe I almost wish R-Truth was here now. All right, going up against Roddy Piper. I'm gonna pull a lower one right now. Some of the guys in my middle section I think are just my preferred, but I don't know if they necessarily are objectively better talkers. I think this guy at least has some equally as memorable moments, possibly, well, definitely for the wrong reasons. And I think this will be a funny one. Yeah, I'll get him on here. I'm gonna go with Scott Steiner.
All right, I'm so glad Scott Steiner made it on here.
But legitimately, like, I saw people be like, Scott Steiner, like, he, aside from his obvious, like, comedy promos, they gave him a lot of promos, and he hyped himself up. He got the crowd fired up a lot of times. He was not just his Steiner math.
Right. And in the limited research that I did for this, he did pop up quite a bit.
Yeah.
He did pop up quite a bit. Okay, so at this point, I mean, who's going to take down Stone Cold in the first round?
Yeah.
Very few people, but we went with comedy last time. I'm going to stick with that theme. One of my favorite comedy acts. Well, not Zeb Coulter.
There he is twice.
God,
and Santino and Stone Cold had some good run-ins too. I think Santino wasn't Stone Cold in one of like the Condemned sequels, or the no, I think Miz was the Marine, but he was in some movie that came out, one of those WWE we're doing our straight to DVD movies, and Santino Morello's out there with a DVD. Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin's I watched Condemned, and yeah, it's great. I need to look that up.
Yeah, and he said, and that's the bottom lines. I was like, and that's the bottom line. Just one. But I'd like to say more than one thing or something like that.
I'm gonna watch that after this. That's great.
Pretty funny. All right, Santino. 14 seed going against Bobby Heenan.
Chris, I hate to tell you this. I know one more, but I'd rather get a few weird picks in here, maybe.
Yeah,
man, there's two. This guy also, I mean, he was first and foremost a wrestler, but in some ways, he was half manager and half wrestler anyway. I'm gonna go with... what did he refer to himself as? I'm gonna go with the bona fide stud, Enzo Amore.
Oh, I love that. Oh man, I knew I was forgetting someone big.
And a bona fide stud. I saw it on a list. I saw it pop up as like an honorable mention on some list, and it was like, oh my god, he was only around for like 6 months, and he just did the same speech almost every time. But god, did people love it, and they were so hyped for it. I got hyped for it. Yeah, Enzo's a goober. Man.
Thank you for putting Enzo on here. I always thought he was one of the best talkers ever. I can't believe
he was. He's got literally has a microphone tattooed on the back of his hand, I think, or something like that, up his arm and on his hand.
Yeah.
He knows what he's good for. Using that mouth, buddy. All right, up against Ric Flair. Let's go with. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are kind of comedy at this point. I would like to get Bailey on the list, but she's gonna get fed to anybody. I don't know if I could do Bailey like that. Whereas, like, at least if you pick a comedy guy, like, you know, they know the score. They know that. I'm gonna go with one more sort of wild card, lesser commonly thought of guy here. He was a guy that was billed and viewed as like a big deal, was kind of given the rocket and strapped it to him, and he kind of flubbed it. I think there was some outside of the ring stuff, and then he was like quickly fired after. But he was billed as a talker, an announcer, a big guy. I'm gonna go with Ken Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, again from that period where maybe slightly before Zeb Coulter, but from that kind of slow, less interesting period, he was gonna be the guy maybe that, you know, came out, did promos, talked great, fired people up, and then it all just went wrong for him.
Yeah. Dang. That was definitely during a period of time where I didn't really watch, but I remember getting a glimpse of him and being like intrigued, like, who is this guy?
Yes. I was similar. I didn't really watch that much, but I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to see if they, you know, give the title to this guy and the feuds he gets in, because I think he's worth watching. And then, I can't remember what happened, but
yeah, for sure.
I think he had someone's wife, probably.
Yeah. I think I've been sitting on this guy. He's old school, but I've been sitting on this guy. He's very well received, one of the legends, and I think someone's going to have a shot, at least from my list, to give Punk a challenge in the first round here. It's going to be this guy. I'm going to go with Terry Funk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. That's a good pick there.
You know, he popped up. Did you ever see the movie Roadhouse?
I have seen portions of it. The original one, right? Not the original one with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Although I've heard Jake Gyllenhaal's good. The only things I've ever heard about is like Conor McGregor sucks in it. He was
a little over the top, but Emily and I had never seen either of them, and we watched the new one first and enjoyed it. There were a couple of parts where we were like, okay, but enjoyed it, and then went back and watched the original, and I really like the original one too.
Yeah. We are some Jilly fans here as well, so we like the Gyllenhaals.
Yes, big Jilly fan, big Jilly style.
Big Jilly style. Oh, Dusty. All right, Dusty Rhodes. Ooh, Dusty. Sorry, in my mind I thought of Cody Rhodes for a second. Dusty is gonna go up against. Okay, here's my connection. It's another comedy guy.
Okay.
Because come on. But he has very, very strong ties to Cody. I'm going Damian Sandow.
Oh, man.
Because he and Cody were a tag team for a while before Sandow did the Miz stuff.
Okay.
And they were kind of like a great heel group. And maybe that's why I've always been like, not when Cody came back, I was like, because like I felt Damian Sandow overshadowed him as the better performer, full package at least, when averaging everything up, even though Cody was probably better in the ring. But like Sandow was more of the talker actually in that group, and he was so funny and so good.
Yeah, man. I can't believe I forgot Sandow. You're pulling out gems here in the later round. Nicely done, sir. Okay, well, I think I got. This is just like a whatever pick for me. I know he's still pretty popular in like the online internet wrestling community, so he's still got like a little buzz. And he was like a good manager back in like the 90s. I'm gonna go Jim Cornette here.
Ooh, okay. Right
see if he's got any chance. Yeah, he'll probably get just eaten alive by Jim Ross, good old JR. But we'll see. Okay, we are down to the last round. And I still have a couple people left here.
Nice.
All right. Well, I'm going to try it. Maybe people will misread the poll or something. I'm going to go Undertaker right here.
That's great. Maybe people will misread the poll. This is risky, Chris. People might vote for The Undertaker just because he's The Undertaker. You're putting The Rock in a dangerous position.
Well, I have to. I feel like
Rock, that's fair. That's fair. True.
I feel like Rock is the favorite, so I got to throw every pick I have to try.
That's fine.
Take down Dwayne, so I don't have to do like what is it? 4 punishments in a row now.
Zeb Coulter's pulling this one out for you. Don't worry about it. All right, John Cena.
John Cena.
Man.
You've got a big mouth, John Cena.
We'll tell you what, I'm not going to get Kane on this list.
Oh, man.
He did more talking later on, but I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a guy on here that will definitely get votes, I think. Not a lot, but he'll get votes. I know you're a big fan of him, and I think down the line, we run this back, if you ran this back in a couple years, he would be closer to a mid-seed, somewhere between 7 and 10 range, I think. Possibly. We'll see. I'm going to go with Grayson Waller.
Ooh.
Actually, I could have gone Logan Paul here, but I'm going to go Grayson Waller. Actually, Logan Paul is even more risky. If you wanted to try and take Cena out in the first round, get kids on YouTube who actually accidentally stumbled across this poll. I don't want to do that. I don't want the sanctity of this bracket to be destroyed by Logan Paul.
Yeah, well, it's very honorable of you. I'm like, let's take down Rock. No,
I'll throw him in the Paul
pick.
Heyman region, just let him steamroll over all the managers.
Yeah, that's so funny. I thought you were gonna go with Chad Gable.
He's on my list.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if he's gonna make it. Well, okay.
Yeah,
maybe
this is your last one. Who are some of the people you're thinking here? Who are some of the ones you're gonna sad you have to leave out?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. I was gonna ask you that same question. I like when we do this. So I only have 4 left on my list.
Okay.
I had this guy to go in the manager or commentator region if I needed someone, but I have Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
Who?
He goes by BNB. I thought he was one of the 3-letter people. Bad News Barrett.
Oh, Bad News Barrett. Yeah. I thought he was great as a performer, but I think he does great on commentary. And
yeah.
I didn't have Corey Graves on my list, but I think I would have put him down here. I think he's consistent enough to where, like, in 10 years from now, people are going to start to be like, damn, Corey Graves does a good job.
Yeah.
I also really like that commentator they had on SmackDown for a few years. What was his name? Mauro Ranallo or something like that?
Yeah.
He was awesome. But other than that, I have Mark Henry, Big Show, and Christian.
Okay.
And Christian is probably going to be my pick here just because, like I said, I'm not a big AEW guy, but the work he's doing over there right now is supposedly the best in his whole career. And I think this is a good spot for him. I would feel a little bad if I left him out.
Okay.
So for this pick, I'm going to go Christian. But what about you? Should we wait? Should I? Well, I'll put him down, and we'll go down yours, and you can give your honorable mentions. How about that?
Yeah, perfect. Because I'm actually, this is going to be really funny. But I'll give my honorable mentions. Here are the people that I actually had in my middle section. I had like a top, mid, and low, and like tier.
Okay.
And there's a few people in my mid tier that I may have been personal picks. Again, picking between Xavier Woods and Big E was just like, they're both so good, but in different ways. And I couldn't pick one over the other. I probably would have gone Woods if I had to go one of the two, because he also does some hosting and podcast stuff. I wish I would have got him on here. I also considered Booker T, and he's also a commentator.
Oh yeah.
Which, spoiler, I won't have him as my 16 here.
Okay.
And then I think I wanted Corbin as a personal pick.
Yeah.
But he's more of like a backstage skit kind of guy. He didn't really come out and do a lot of promos all that often.
Yeah.
Bailey was the other female wrestler that I think does really good work, especially lately. When she finally got a heel run. And then I also like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. I think are all both pretty consistent guys. But yeah, other than Kane and Gable, who we've talked about, there's only one more on my list who is in my low section, because I don't necessarily think of him as a talker. He wasn't really on any lists other than like I saw him on a couple best promos of all time list. And this is a really popular wrestler. He did like a serious promo, and he's known as a talker, but it was Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't picture him as like a talker, but in thinking, I wrote down Guerrero, and I have the perfect, worst, most abrasive person, but that's what she was supposed to do. She was so good, and she'll be great for Paul Heyman because it's a gimme for Paul Heyman, which we want it to be. It fits the at least only half performer and has moved to a non in-ring role. I'm gonna go Vicky Guerrero.
Wow.
Excuse me. She was so good, and he was so harsh and shrill. True heel heat, true go away X-Pac heat. And it takes something kind of special to pull that off.
Yes. Man, what?
Sorry, Eddie Guerrero, but Vicky made the list.
Yeah, I considered Eddie because he's always so high on the best wrestler, but I didn't think of him as a talker. And I thought about Ray, and I'm like, Ray, like I don't.
Yeah.
But man, you pull out Enzo Amore, Grayson Waller, and Vicky Guerrero. Those are really good picks. Man.
Crazy that Taker, Eddie, and Ray, guys that are like Sweet 16 locks, if not further, are so far down talkers, if not making a list at all. It's really crazy. Yeah. And I don't know if,
Well, Taker went probably the first, like, saying a word.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Paul did all the talking for him. And then he did the American Badass, and he talked fine, but there was no promos that he cut that time where you're like, so
yeah,
he's not really known more for character. We got a question from Justin. What about Bret Hart?
Sorry.
Matt's not a big Bret Hart guy. I
like to make fun of Bret Hart. No, I was like Bret Hart fans and Bret Hart himself, because he watches the channel regularly, is going to be offended that I don't pick him. Yeah.
That is a good call. Man, I feel like I should have done more prep work at this point, because I'm like, man, how could I let Grayson Waller and Enzo Amore slip? But Bret Hart, if we want to throw out like a triple threat match, which we've done before in the past, Justin, and thanks for hopping in. Before we wrap up here, we have done triple threats in the past where we build these brackets and someone will pop into my head or Matt's head and we'll be like, oh, we got to get this guy in here. And then we'll text about it and throw someone random. So I think I could see Bret Hart.
Bret Hart is a good choice. My first instinct when I think about him, though, is just like, oh, I want to like storyline dismiss this guy because of whatever random storyline I have in my head where I'm like his antagonist. But no, when you think about some of the like, I think more of some of his like, I don't want to say heel promos, but his like almost CM Punk like promos where he kind of ran down the company and was pissed at Vince or Shawn Michaels and stuff. Like those were really compelling. And obviously as a face, and his natural promos were all above average. Like a lot of the guys that I put on here where I was like, well, they didn't ever have like that promo that you think about forever in like your top 10, but like guys like Seth Rollins or guys like The Miz and things like that who just come in and all of their promos are what they need to be. I feel like Bret Hart did that as well. So Yeah, I think I just didn't write him down just to be spiteful towards him.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah,
this weird character that I've developed.
right. And to that point, I think my favorite Bret Hart promo that I can remember offhand, I have to go back, but it was the one where uh, he had just gotten like screwed. It wasn't the Montreal screw job, but Vince came in the ring to interview him. And he goes, God, you must be frustrated. And then he shoved Vince down. And he goes, frustrated isn't the goddamn word for it. This is bullshit. And it was the first time they had ever like allowed cursing on that level, at least. And it was pretty good. So yeah, towards the end of his WWE run where he was starting to unravel, and then you know the Austin match at WrestleMania 13 doesn't happen if Bret doesn't play such a good kind of heel.
Yeah.
I guess he was kind of the face going into it because they did the double turn, but that's beside the point. But yeah, Bret Hart, not a bad choice. So
yeah.
So any parting thoughts, Matt, before we pack up?
Parting thoughts. Oh no. I think a lot of first round matchups are actually really good. The Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, as you can see on this one. I think Daniel Bryan, Kurt Angle is a pretty juicy one too. Edge and Drew. We've got a lot of first round matchups. I don't know how they're going to go. Like I said, I think this one's harder to predict, and we'll see more upsets because I think the nature of your first thought, like finishers, when your first thought comes to mind, that's all a finisher is. It's like one thing that happens in like 3 seconds. But when you're asking who's the best talker, it's asking you to consider maybe a full career if that's a more important criteria for how you're going to be voting, or like their highest highs and their lowest lows. If you're like, what were their peaks and valleys? So I don't know how people will vote. I don't know how people will view best talker. It is subjective. Some people may hate comedy guys, be like, if they ever did anything funny and couldn't be taken seriously, I think less of them. Even for a guy like Kurt Angle, like they might look down on his kind of more, slapstick humory stuff and not consider him as serious of a talker as some of the other guys. So it'll be really interesting. I know, like you said, and I agree that I think Rock is a heavy favorite. I don't think it's a done deal. I think a lot of our 1s, 2s, 3s, and even a couple of the 4s are legitimate contenders to take down The Rock. But we'll see. What about you?
Yeah. I like the manager region. It's a lot of fun. You kind of switch up for that 4th region. I'm curious about how like Bray Wyatt does, and guys that were like totally different that aren't as known for, the let me tell you something, brother, Macho Man. Ooh, yeah, like getting all in your face, but more subtle. So with more work on their character as opposed to just strictly cutting promos, man. I'm also interested to see how people separate this talking specifically as opposed to the other stuff like in ring, like guys like, I don't know, Jericho, who right now he's not really a fan favorite. Everything I see online about Jericho is like, retire, you're past your prime, blah, 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 blah. And so can people separate that from strictly his ability to cut a promo over the past 3 decades now? We'll see.
Honestly, I think slotting, if there was a triple threat for Bret Hart, either HBK MJF or Jericho Ziggler seem like the right kind of fit for a Bret Hart insertion. Pause. Yeah. No, I mean, the last thing I'll say is The Rock does not have it easy, though. It's not like his 2 or 3 seed are pushovers. Like, if there are guys that can challenge The Rock, it's guys with equally as over legendary catchphrases and just iconic looks. Like you said, people may misread the vote and click Undertaker. He might go down the first round. And then Jericho, HBK, and of course like MJF, if we have like some really into it AEW fans, they might be like, nah, man, it's all like WWE, yeah, they have great guys, but they never had anybody like MJF and AEW. Just that like kind of like anti WWE sentiment and like
Yeah.
Nothing against MJF, he really is that good, but sometimes it's just like this is better just because it's less popular.
Right.
I do that all the time anyway. Who am I to judge? I love this region. This is my favorite region, I think.
Yeah,
probably
for sure.
The one below it might be just as good, but I think this was my favorite one.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is like a who's who, and you wouldn't even, I mean, the first matchup, because I've been doing like region by region, the first matchup is The Rock versus The Undertaker. Like, it doesn't matter what the criteria is, just that is like, wow.
It's insane, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's wrap it up here. We were at 90 minutes, and things always go long, but it's because they're so fun. So, Justin, Norm, Wrestle Truth, anybody else who joined us live, thank you very much.
Hornswoggle fans.